I have a confession to make. I actually have an addiction to video games, and it's been something that I've struggled with for my whole life. I get pulled in, especially during the winter months, into games like Master of Orion 2, and I've even played Stronghold Crusader for hundreds of hours at a time. And this has really negatively impacted my life because instead of me planning for my future and my retirement with print on demand, I often get sucked into hours at a time being a lazy bum on the couch playing video games. So if you can relate to this struggle, then this video is for you. I've got some tips on how you can actually turn this disadvantage into an advantage, and you can supercharge your print-on-demand life. I'm actual living proof of this myself. So let me share with you what I've done to get some success. And the reason I give myself a pass on this a lot of times is that video games are inherently addictive. And what I mean by that is that they release in the pleasure center of your brain dopamine. And that gives me a little hit, like it's almost like a drug. And so I actually have turned that into my print-on-demand journey where I actually get that little hit of dopamine now by creating print-on-demand designs. So what I'm going to do here is go through my strategy on how you can use the concept of gamification. In other words, making your print-on-demand, or if you're selling digital designs, whatever it is you're doing, you can turn that into a game and you can actually stimulate that part of your brain so you can actually have like a good addiction. You can be addicted to something productive and useful and hopefully help plan for your financial future and also have fun doing it as well. So I'm quite proud of myself that I've got a lot of designs up on the internet on multiple sites like Redbubble, TeePublic, Merch by Amazon, Displate, and so on. So my number one tip to gamify your life in the print-on-demand world is to have output goals. You want to actually measure the amount of uploads that you're doing on a daily or a weekly basis. And you want to have a cumulative goal so that it grows over time. This is like leveling up in a game. So for example, if you're uploading 10 designs a day and you have a goal of 70 designs a week, you'd want to have that visible somewhere, like maybe on the fridge or on a wall, a chalkboard, some sort of output goal that's visible to you so that you can monitor that on a daily basis. And when you reach that milestone, you get a little hit of dopamine. It feels like you've accomplished something, like you've leveled up in a video game. Now, if you're not a big output goals person, maybe you've got a time goal. Maybe that will speak more to you. So what you can do instead is you can say you're going to dedicate maybe 1 hour a night to print on demand. And then here's the important part is you want to visibly acknowledge that you've done it. So you want to have like maybe a little check mark on the wall. Maybe you've got a little chalkboard or something. You want to have maybe a bunch of magnets on one side of the fridge and you move it over to the other side of the fridge. Or you put something in a jar, like a marble. And so you've got a jar of marbles at the end of the month and it looks like you've accomplished something. Now look, as I say this, it's going to sound kind of ridiculous. Oh, really? Put a bunch of marbles in a jar? But what it does is it tricks your brain into thinking that you're accumulating something. And that's the way video games work as well. You start out at level 1, and then you go to level 2, level 3, level 100, whatever. Well, that's just as made up as marbles in a jar. So time goals and output goals can be really important, but they're only useful if you do the third tip as well, which is having a visible tracker. Have something visible in your house on the fridge, on the wall, that you can then look at and you can say, okay, over time, this is growing. I'm accumulating something of value here. Now note, none of these tips are related in any way to sales. I'm not talking about sales because you can't really control sales. But what you can control is the amount of time and the amount of numerical uploads that you put into the world. And that is the way you can fire your brain to get a few more little hits of dopamine and keep you moving on. And actually, I'd be interested in what you're doing to help motivate yourself on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Throw them down in the comments below. I'm sure other listeners and other viewers would love to hear from you as well. Thank you for contributing. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm a big fan of doing what works, and I'm living proof of this as I regularly earn over $1,000 a month in the print-on-demand world. I also sell digital designs, and if you're interested in learning more about that, check out this video as well. Thank you so much for watching.